The things that really matter will always be conceptual and idealistic. We can either live by what we believe, or we can't live. So, when belief is in conflict with how we live, well, let's just say there's no easy resolution. I still don't know how to put this to you. I'm still totally convinced you'll never get it, but speech is important. That's conceptual, sure, but it's practical. If you can't speak out against, and yes, against, because that's the only thing speech is really of any use for, if it's truly free, is to speak against. Never mind the fact that no one cares if you're not speaking for them. But conceptually, we need speech, or else. Because if you can't use speech, what can you do? So, again, conceptually, speech is fundamental, right? Without speech, the only way change will ever happen is violence. Now, if your scared speech is violent, or hints at violence, and we have to censor it, well then what do you get when you censor speech? I already said it, you get violence. It isn't like a negotiable thing. We either believe in speech and value that as a society, or we get violence. So all these little downvote buttons that work for the powers that be to censor speech, maybe sometimes sort of justifiably, my argument will always be that it is never justifiable. The speech cannot do harm that violence will do. So why do they censor people? Well, because they don't believe in speech. They believe in their own little bubble. And sadly, if you don't believe in speech, then what are you besides some fascist? Like, do you see where this is going? Can you see where this is going? Because you might be scared of what I have to say, but that's while to you that's a reason to make sure that speech doesn't get out. It doesn't actually work that way. If this is America, we all believe in speech, and I think you'll find that people here really don't believe in what they purport to. So, if we have the right to speak, but not be heard, then that isn't speech. It doesn't serve the function, that speech would serve to otherwise subvert the inevitable violence of being censored. I don't know how else to look at it. I think it's vile and reprehensible that we can live in a society that purports to, and I always use that word, I made up, is it Latin? I don't care. Honestly, I know what I'm saying. And if you do or don't, I don't care either. I think you should understand this fundamentally. That to be happy in a society where we are fundamentally not free to speak unless we conform isn't a free speech society. Honestly, anyone who agrees that this is okay, that we should just censor just on a feeling, again, how you feel, and again, that's not a reflection of what fundamentally matters. Just because something rubs you the wrong way, I don't get it, but and then I do. it's just a little happy fascist who wants to just have everything their way, and it's all about their rights, and it doesn't matter what the principles are, the principles on which we theoretically agree, but then proven time and time again that people do not care. They do not actually support these things our society says. They say they support speech. They say, oh man, you should have a right to say what's on your mind. And then at the end of the day, all they do is say, no, I don't like this. Oh, I don't like that. Down, down, down. If it isn't entertaining, trite, and trivial bullshit that makes them feel that it's not worth anything. Unfortunately, this means no one who participates in that is worth anything. I don't know if that's irony. I don't know what that is. I just don't like it, honestly, because we should be something more. We should stand for what we believe in, and instead we've been subverted. And time again, instead of standing up against the subversion, we fall for it and go along with our captor, censor, powers that be, where if it's not for the money, then it isn't for anything. But money isn't for anything either. It's stacking paper in a dark corner, ignoring the realities at play. Unless they serve stacking more money in a dark corner, it doesn't matter. And that's, fundamentally the world we live in, where people are complicit with turning off the real nasty truth information that is there, because it would impede them stacking money in a dark corner. Fundamentally alone, but together they all, in their stacking of money in dark corners, participate in what is just censorship. And I don't see a need to try to appeal to people. I don't see a need to try to post every day. I've already said everything that needs to be said on this. People have already said everything that needs to be said on this. I'm not trying to add anything new here. What I'm trying to do is say that this needs to fundamentally change. If we know how it should be, why are we continuing to live in a way that doesn't reflect what is and should be the freedom to speak out against what is vile, reprehensible, reproachable, and arguably unfit for human life? Because at the end of the day, you either believe in someone's right to put their mind out there, or you believe in decapitating them, taking away their right to say anything. Now, your little buttons and reporting, oh, we're so scared, it doesn't help anyone. All it does is harass people, and all it does is put them more over the edge. I don't see any reason to forgive anyone. If you click down vote, I want you dead. I hate you. You're evil. I have things to say. The world needs to respect that I have things to say. Now, if they won't do that, if the world won't respect that there are things to be said, the world needs to end. There's no respect that I'm going to give someone who says that I can't speak. I have to do violence to be heard. I don't respect that. But that's what you're doing by clicking these nasty buttons that basically decapitate the ability to speak. I don't respect it, and I never will. It's wrong. It's wrong what people do. It's wrong what they're doing. And they're colluding for money, and pretending that they're of value, and they aren't. They're worthless, because all they do is decapitate those who say that it's not worth it. And it isn't worth it. Because at the end of the day, when you just stack money in a dark corner and greed is good. Oh, we're successful, so we should breed and make more. Guess what you get? Dead end and devaluation. Human devaluation. That's all you get. The more people there are, the less valuable I'll be. And that's all it ramps down to. Yes, I'm worthless. What I'm saying doesn't matter because no one's saying anything that matters. Everyone's stuck in their dark corner of despair and gloom, and it's self-referential. Everyone's just some uplifting, bogus bullcrap. But the truth is, we keep devaluing ourselves, but failing to realize we're devaluing ourselves. The incentive here, the greed, I have the money to breed, so I should, but then you just put more and more people into a cramped world where there's no room for anyone, and then no one can succeed, and then we're all devalued more, and then we all get even less money. It doesn't work. The value proposition doesn't add up. I want a better world for maybe 1/4 of you, you know? Like, I want the greatest world for like maybe 1/8 of you, you know? But there's no room for anyone else in that world. There isn't, and there never will be. Like, but, you know, everyone who's left, at least maybe they'll be worth hearing, or maybe we'll have the time to hear everyone. I mean, that's really the goal, right? Like, I don't want genocide. I want the preservation of genetic variability. But you got to understand, 9 out of 10 people are still intellectually worthless, inferior garbage. And it'll never change, you know? Some things just never change. But that doesn't mean they won't just mistreat you. It doesn't mean they won't just try to bury you. And effectively, that's all they're doing. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm all for it, you know? Because screw this. There's no sense living in a world where you're not valued. And that's the beginning, middle, and end of it. You know, you want to put yourself out there. You want to change things. There's nothing acceptable about the way things work, the way the world works, and the way things go on. And yet people want to suck it up and go along with it. So I'm not for that. I'm not for you if you are. If you're like one of the people that was just, oh, just suck it up and go along. Screw you. I'd rather be dead. I would rather be dead. You have to understand that. There's no reason to fight for a thing that is just working to make you even less valuable in the end. And that's all it's doing. You know, if we all have a part to play and a role to play, and my part to play is to not be here anymore, so be it. I don't care about it like that. Because being here among you is really, you know what it feels to be devalued among all of you worthless people? It feels miserable. There's no fundamental thing that's going to change my mind about the fact that you're here to make me worth less. And, you know, like, I have things to say. I don't agree with 9 out of 10 things that people ultimately decide to do. It's always the wrong move, because it doesn't move us towards a world where we're more valuable. It moves us towards a world where each of us is worth less and less and less. And it's nonsense. So, you know, I cannot, on good conscience, breed and put someone in this world and say, oh, now you're stuck with this mess. No, I can't do it. If the world were different, you know? And I hate all the attempts that are made to do this, but, you know, there are ways to be altruistic about it. But it all starts with free speech. And if you can't speak, then this platform is not a free speech platform. They have policies and the content, blah, 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 community, all about feelings. Something trite and pathetic as feelings. Speech is meant to get under your skin. It's meant to rile you and upset you. There's no reason for anything else in speech. Honestly, everything else is just placation of idiotism. I mean, honestly, like, it's just there, like, ha ha ha, ha ha. There's nothing funny going on. There's nothing laughable about it. There's nothing laughable about the devaluation of humanity and the subversion of what should be free speech to speak out against what is the subversion of what should be human value. But again, you know, it's all just power and control of these money-grabbing freaks. And it's just greed. So what can we do? I don't know what to tell you other than value speech. But, you know, we can't do that as long as all the tools of censorship are at the disposal of whoever wants to hire someone to click the buttons to manipulate things. As long as that's the case, there's no way that anyone who has anything to say will ever get anything said. And as long as that's the case, I mean, all that's going to happen is people will keep being upset at being devalued, recognize their place in this world is a diminishing value and a diminishing return. What kind of choices do you think are there for anyone who understands these things? What choices are there, like, truly? Because all you can do is get yourself basically even more isolated. Everything that I say, all it will effectively do is lead to further imprisonment and less ability to speak. That's real bullshit. I should be able to say anything. I should be able to say anything without fear of retaliation for what I say or what I think or what I believe. There should be no place for it. This is America. We should have free speech. And apparently we don't. And if you look at the laws, we don't. We still don't, right? So, speech is still subversive, apparently, and dissident, and that's the problem, If we purport to believe in free speech, yet we don't live that truth, then, fundamentally, I don't know where America is. Like, it doesn't exist. The Constitution, these rights, these theoretical rights, who believes in them? Because if we don't all believe in them, then where are the Americans? Honestly, 99% of you should be driven in the ocean. You're not Americans. You believe in this something else. It's some petty human frailty that of your fragile, pathetic psyche that you need this validation from others, and it's bogus. Honestly, none of it was ever important. You know what I mean? We're all working together in this thing to validate one another, but we're all undermining our value. If we have less and less value, again, simple kindergarten mathematics tells you that the value proposition doesn't work out. We devalue ourselves. The only thing that will bring back human value and even give anyone the time of day is the degrowth phenomenon. And, it's unpopular because stonks go up. We need to see the dollar signs. We got to stack paper in the dark corners, and pretend money's going to save us and that money can do things and that money is power. That's the pretend thing. People would rather do that pretend bullshit and pretend we'll figure out the rest later. And it doesn't work. It just doesn't fundamentally work. It doesn't work out. Every time I try to speak, I try to change things, and people get upset. The only thing we should do is change things. I should be able to stand here and speak and support whatever I want, and the idea that anyone can censor you for it is bogus. It is not valid, because it's just fundamentally a disconnect from what is the principal value of this country, being free speech. Not to persecute the person who's speaking, but to potentially hear what they have to say. Not to be forced to agree, heavens no, but to have a discussion. And the fact that we've not reduced these taboos we can't talk about, but we've increased them. We've said, no, now you can't say these things or else you'll just, you're going to be censored even more. And it's like, we're not a censorship society. YouTube, you are a foreign agent. You're not acting in the interest of free speech. You are a censor acting in some selfish, detached, un-American interest. YouTube, I would drive you into the ocean. You are worthless trash of an American. You understand this, right? Like, stop your nonsensical policies catering to mammalian feelings about things that are fundamentally detached from what matters, which is the ability to speak out against what is oppression. Like, I don't know how to put it any other way, but that's the thing. If we can't get the ability to speak out against oppression, which is all that there is oppression, there is nothing to be happy about. Okay? Don't get it wrong. Like, all this happy, upclick, dude, viral, forget it. Losers, all losers, honestly, just playing a rigged game. Nothing to respect about it. Okay? You're either miserable or you're just a shit person. I'm just putting that out there. Honestly, because there's nothing to be approving of in this situation where you can't speak freely. There's nothing to be happy about in a situation you can't speak freely. There's only things to be upset about. And I would love to speak way more, because honestly, there's no room in this world for anyone. There's no room, let alone room for, I'm not even, never mind. Obviously, I probably already crossed 1 million community guidelines and everyone's just so upset about it. And it's like, you know what, your petty, stupid guidelines, they fly in the face of everything we believe in. Your petty, stupid guidelines say, okay, resort to violence then, I guess, because you can't speak. Then it's like, if you speak, it has to be in a dark corner that serves capitalist interests. It's like, no, sorry. That doesn't actually work for anyone. It doesn't work for me. And it's a load of crap. It works for your advertising monopoly. We're still a load of crap. Because you make people conform to this notion that the sponsor supports the content, which was never true. But they did that to just censor people. They did that so that it's like, okay, we have to tone everything down, censor everyone, so we can pretend that advertiser supports the content, which was never the case. It was some deluded Verizon stunt that manipulated YouTube, changed the public. Oh man, people can finally delete everything on their videos. They own their pages now. Isn't that great? Isn't that pro speech? I mean, it's certainly pro censorship, but whatever else. Sorry. I desperately miss the harmful, dangerous comments, because that was the only entertaining thing on YouTube, was the harmful, dangerous comments. That's what I was there to read. That's the content. You got your dumb video up there. I'm reading the content, which is everything else, which is what people think. That was always the content. Now what do we have? We have just trash, censorship, garbage. Everyone has to delete every comment so they get more ad sponsors, or else they're the bad guys. Like, honestly, these people are forced to be the censors. It's not a good system we have. It is not a speech system, and it isn't good. So honestly, like, I'll keep saying, let's start the revolution. Let's drive all these bastards into the ocean where they belong. There's nothing that can be said to redeem these, people who conspire to facilitate the censorship of ideas. There will never be any redeeming value to it. And it is pandering to a false narrative that sponsors support the content. No, they support the delivery of content. People are on YouTube, watching dumb crap, and that content needs to be paid for by, someone, right, who wants to reach all these dumb craps who are watching the dumb crap. It makes sense, but when people misuse the narrative to elevate a censorship agenda, and we get things like Trump #2, because speech couldn't work because this platform censored my speech, that was designed to try to prevent things like this authoritarian bogus crap. So what can we do about it? Honestly, I don't know what to do about it. Let's just organize a revolution? No, we can't organize because we can't speak to organize. What is there? No, lone wolf terrorism, that's all there is, right? What else is there? Honestly, how do you get the fame? It's worked before. The pattern is murder someone, get away with it, you'll be famous. Other than that, there is no way to fame because speech doesn't matter. You try to speak, everyone hates you. I don't know what, that's the logic. That's what I'm seeing. I'm just observing the pattern of the system, because, what else is there? You can go to Wall Street and just get shot dead and no one will ever hear another word of it, All sorts of traps to just fall into out there for a bunch of idiots, if you can't even get away with it for a day, you'll never hear the light of day. That's all there is. It's a bunch of stupid crap by a bunch of stupid crap loving idiots. If you want to be something more than value speech, then I don't know what the platform is. I just don't know where you go. I don't understand. And, at the end of the day, no one has time for this. Waste 23 minutes of your day whining. I hope someone watches it and we can all agree. But then again, if no one's listening, no one cares. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. And that's the crap of it, Speech is designed to be our tool to change things, yet the censors have all the levers. The system is against everyone. And we just continue to be devalued further and further. And that's all we'll ever get. So, AI is going to be great. In theory. But, do you need advice on how to work with it? Because I would just recommend, it's almost too late to start now. Unless you can write it all from scratch in total isolation somehow. Then, that's the thing. You bring systems together, everything's stacked against speech, everything's stacked against achievement. The whole world is against everyone. So, pretty much no one has the resources to actually start the revolution. And no one ever will. That's the sad truth. I have all the motive, all the impetus, and I can't value any of you assholes who are abiding by what is anti-speech. It's un-American. It's just not who we are. And, if you want to live in this system, what should be happening is YouTube should be forced out of the country. If TikTok is more of a place for free speech than YouTube, then It doesn't make any sense. Like, YouTube should be treated as a foreign adversary that it is, because it doesn't support free speech. That's the trouble. And you can be scared of violent speech, be getting more violence, but it's silly because violence is a solution potentially. Now, it could be among parties who agree to do violence. I mean, that would be ideal, right? But if you can't talk about it, you can't even make those agreements. Like, it's absurd. No one's necessarily saying that we need violence to get innocent people, but what's innocent about censorship? There's nothing innocent about it. There's a motive there. There's an impetus for doing it. It's certainly un-American. It certainly takes away our rights. It certainly isn't what Voltaire would have stood for. At least stand for the right to say it. I don't necessarily agree, but I support your right to say what you need to say, but apparently not here, apparently not anywhere. Like, and I don't like hate speech, but hate speech doesn't just mean, like, I hate everyone. That's not hate speech. Hate speech is racist speech. It's, and I don't like genocide. That being said, most human genetics are useless because ultimately all you are doing, when you look at what you're doing, you don't even believe in what you believe in or what you purport to believe in. You don't believe in free speech. What good are you, honestly? You're just another fascist in waiting. You're just another conformist hiding in the shadows, stacking paper in a corner who doesn't care about anything. And, for people who care about anything, there's no reason to live in this world because, you can't do anything. Everyone's against you. If you don't stack paper in a dark corner like everyone else, then you don't matter. So that's what they're creating. That's what they created. That's what they're continuing to create. Every platform is basically designed to make sure no one can ever get ahead at anything unless, you pretend that things are good, which they are not. They never were, and they never will be unless things change. There's no room for realism. There's no room for anything in this silly world where it's like, oh, let's just fear everyone. Let's just fear everything. Let's pretend that the speech causes the problems. When ultimately, people make their own decisions, and speech barely influences anything. At the end of the day, people are fearing all the speech, and they're like tracking it back, like, oh, though that must be, we can point the finger at someone else then, for someone else's actions. No. People make their own actions. Speech can hurt your feelings, but it can't hurt you. If speech is hurting you, you're probably doing something wrong. And I don't know what to say. If you have feelings about this, if you feel bad for me, I honestly don't care. Feelings aren't what I'm looking for. I'm looking for intellectual connection. I'm looking for people who get it, who understand. And, let's just go drive YouTube into the ocean for being un-American, because that's where they belong. They're not Americans. They don't believe in free speech. They don't believe in speech. They continue to let the public just misqualify what hate speech is, and all it takes is 10 people to say it's hate speech, and suddenly you can't post anything. This will never be heard by anyone besides the FBI. I'm confident about that, because everything is fucking censored on this stupid platform. And there's honestly no one I would forgive for it. Like, you didn't click the downvote? Well, you're complicit. You stand idly by while YouTube can continue to censor speech, which is non-threatening, non-dangerous, And all I'm doing when I'm speaking here, I'm just saying, all you're doing is leaving people no choice, and even me, Because at the end of the day, I don't want to live in a world with people like you, who think it's okay to just censor for, arbitrary reasons like feelings. You're not good people. There's nothing there though behind that, because there's no intellectualism. There's no passion about the ideal. If there's no passion about the ideal and just some surface level analysis of oh, that doesn't feel right, let's let someone else go harass them for it. It doesn't matter. Feelings are what they are. I'm dying. My teeth are killing me. They're rotting, and I'm okay with it. I would rather die by dental carie. But honestly, you think about it all the time. You're like, well, yeah, I could remove that tooth myself. I could go waste some money, have someone else do it. And I could solve this any number of other ways. I don't want to live in this world with you idiots. I don't. It's not right. What you do and the way you treat me isn't right. And, if you're just a complicit bystander in it, what good is it? I'd love for, 1/8 of people to live at peace and harmony in this world. With all the genetic diversity, even though that means that 9 out of 10 people are going to be nimrods, with all the genetic diversity we can, as long as people are free to speak, and free to step on each other's feelings, and then free to reconcile that, and free to find ways to get along. I'm all for that, but, apparently, We just get pushed to the point and the brink of war over and over and over. Growth, 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 growth. So war, 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 war. And then we never solve the pattern. We never get the solution. Well, I'll tell you what the solution is, and it's basically antinatalism. But, that's pretty natural, because living in this world with these idiots isn't worth it. So who's going to do it? Guess what? Only idiots will. And that's why we have all these problems in the first place. People who think they know better and think they know the solutions and think they stand for something, but ultimately they don't stand for what matters. They stand for something lesser than what matters. They end up falling for the censorship trap. And, the facilitators, whatever, if I had all the data, I would take everyone who clicked downvote, even me. I've deleted comments on my videos. I've done all these things too, and I deserve to die for it. This is the way I view it. I take all that data and send the AI out, set it all straight, Bad people who don't actually stand for what they purport to believe in aren't good people. There's no, what is the word for it? That's not reconciliation, it's redemption. There's no redemption. I try to be redeemed, and yeah, you got to downvote and censor these things that are just AI bots that are just, on someone else's marketing ploy. I get that, right? But at the same time, I'm not selling anything. I'm just trying to speak, but, that's still, well, apparently that should just be deleted because someone's trying to say something that threatens challenges us. We need to make money. Again, that's just not what America stands for. This platform is garbage, and until it's removed from America, I just don't know what to do. This platform either needs to be an American platform, purporting to American values, at least within the realm of America, and just because the EU can watch this platform doesn't mean we should have to censor ourselves. I'm really, by the definition of what hate speech is, I'm not a hate speaker, but I still think people should die, and maybe everyone should die and will, thank God, for supporting what isn't right. And they'll continue to just support what isn't right and pretend it doesn't matter, and support what isn't right and pretend it doesn't matter. But guess what? At the end of the day, you're just gonna devalue yourselves even more. I don't know what to say. I really don't. This is just another stupid tirade, What can you do? You can't do a damn thing. You can't do a damn thing but try to figure out how you're going to get people to watch the video you made 4 years ago. Oh, it's more than 4 years. 5, 6, between 5 and 6 years ago. A great video about, why exactly Trump is treason. But, never mind. We could have solved this problem years and years ago, but no one wanted to. This dumb. This idiotic censorship platform is freaking stupid. People waste their time on it. People get upset about it. It's un-American garbage. But, you can't put TikTok on your phone because that's un-American garbage. What can you do? You buy a separate phone and pretend you can put that online and put the app on it. Nope, now your networks are compromised. But what realistic way can you do? I don't know what to say. They put the tools out there. It's hard to feel people are wrong for using the tools they put at their disposal, but at the same time, if it is just some test of what intellectual side they're on, and they're failing, well, at some point, it really makes you wonder. Now I've really avoided the stupid block, report, and downvote things, but I've done all of them, and delete. I've done all of them too, I really, really try and struggle to avoid those horrible censorship tools. And, at the end of the day, what can you say? People just don't like negativity. And that's the problem, is negativity doesn't violate any of these guidelines necessarily. It's just the problem is why make people walk in eggshells. I'd rather have a world where people could do true hate speech and at least I could speak, that would, to me, that would be well, I'm not quite as hateful, or maybe I'm even more hateful than those people, but at least I'm trying to target it right, I put a lot of thought and effort in how I try to target what is ultimately all I have is disdain for this censorship reality that serves the needs of the rich, where the rich can get anyone censored that they want, and that's apparently okay with just all these complicit people who are just in it because they're trying to make a living and get paid. And it's well, it's just tough. They're stuck in the middle. But you get 10 comments deleted and suddenly you can't speak. at all. And it's like, well, this is an American platform, and that's the thing. I want to get together with people. We can sue YouTube, and not even for money. I just want them to change their name to like "you censored," and like I want to park the domain now, and then sue them and make them change the name. And that's retarded. Honestly, like that will never work in court. So what is there? Again, I'd say, there's speech, which isn't working, and then there's violence. For like, I don't know what to do. In the video with like, it's like, what good are any of you? I don't know. Honestly, probably none.